Welcome to Stargate SG1 for the first time. Still, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Aiken, and I'm watching Stargate SG1 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm watching Stargate SG1 for the 47th time. Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek podcasters who joined forces some time ago to bring you Babylon 5 for the first time. We had so much fun doing that. We said, let's do it again with a show that so many of you out there said, please do this show.
We're giving SG1 that first time treatment. We'll talk about what that means here in a second. For me, this is literally my first time. So you get to join me and relive your first time viewing experience as I watch it.
And even though I have seen this show 47 times, for the first time, I am going through Stargate SG1 looking for all those things that the show is trying to teach us. You know, those lessons that hold up a mirror to society, give us hope that things might be better in the future, or just tell us how to be better human beings to one another.
And since this is still not a Star Trek podcast, we're going to bring over one of our favorite games that we started on Babylon 5 for the first time. And that's the rule of three. The rule of three limits us to 3 references to Star Trek.
That's it. 3. One of those twice. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And when we make one of those references, you're going to hear everybody's favorite sound.
But, you know, there's also the possibility, nay, the probability of us making Babylon 5 references from time to time, since, you know, Jeff, that's really kind of our current jam. And if we do that, you're going to hear.
Oh, yes.
All right. We're watching the Nox. Let's get into this one. If I remember right, I thought that this is going to be, they're going to go to this planet. The Nox are going to be an alien species. We're going to get another alien species. There's going to be like the camp over here that are the misplaced humans, the camp over here that are the Nox, and there's like this Cold War thing. And SG1's going to go in and try and figure out, like, are they enemies or will they be allies?
Are they enemies or allies? Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see in just a moment. Hey, this is the 8th episode of season 1. The original air date, August 29th, 1997. A few notes about this episode. Jeff, there is a new alien word that I would like to point out.
A word. Okay.
A new alien word. You're going to hear this for the very first time in this episode. It is a word you're going to hear quite a bit. And so I just want you to be familiar with it. And I like it. I'm just pointing out that this honestly is the first time that we hear this word in the show. The word is Sholva.
Sholva.
Sholva. Take a guess. What do you think Sholva means?
It's like, it's probably like a patak.
Close. It's the gold word for traitor.
Oh, traitor. Okay. Yeah.
Traitor.
That's deeper.
Sholva. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, not quite the same oomph as patak, but it is that same, it's in that vein for sure.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know Star Trek, catch up with Jeff or I on either one of our Star Trek podcasts. Yeah, exactly. Jeff, I have a question. Did you ever see the movie Fanboys?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this was a movie. I'm 98% sure I'm thinking of the right movie. This was a movie that came out right around the time of Star Wars Episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
And like a friend, like is this group of guys, their friend was going to die from like cancer. And they were expecting him to pass away before Episode 1 got released. So they go on this like cross-country trip to the Skywalker Ranch, George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch, try to sneak in and see the film.
Okay.
For their friend who's like about to die. And along the way, they meet lots of other nerds. Like there's great Seth Rogen plays a Trekkie.
Okay.
Who just, I mean, it is awful what they do to Trekkies in this movie. But there is a clip from Stargate SG1 that is in that film, and it's from this episode.
Okay, cool.
So
very cool.
Anyway, one of the things that we are going to like about this show, Jeff, and we're going to do it, we haven't done it yet. This is another first in this episode, is pointing out all the Star Trek actor crossovers.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, I'm not talking about necessarily the one-offs, okay? I'm talking about series regulars, maybe recurring roles within the Star Trek world. And like I said, this episode marks the first of such appearances. I'm not going to tell you who, what, when, or how much this person is going to show up in this episode. I'm just interested to see if you catch it. My guess is you're going to catch it in about 3.4 seconds.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
That's actually a lot of time. It might actually be more 0.34 seconds.
Okay.
It's possible.
God.
Anyway.
Just know, everyone, just expect to be let down. Just
And if not, I'm just going to be sitting here going, all right, Jeff, let's go ahead and jump into this episode today. If you're just joining us for the first time, the way this works is Jeff and I are going to watch this episode for the first time right now. Like, we're going to go watch this episode. We're going to break and watch the episode. And if you're joining us on YouTube, you're actually going to get the cool, like, reaction video. The way we're going to do this is a reaction video, and you're going to catch that right now. If you'd like to see the full unedited reaction, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Babylon5 first. That's our main channel right now. You guys can check out some of the cool behind the scenes on that.
for our audio listeners, if you're on a podcasting app like Good Pods or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of those, we're going to skip this whole next part. So you're going to join us after we've watched the episode. Make sure that you stick around through the little break, because then I'm going to do the podcast thing, right? I'm going to talk about my first experience, my impressions, my thoughts, things like that. And Brent is going to share any of the sci-fi messages that he was able to extract from this one. So let's get into the Knox.
Here we go.
Better hang on to something, Mr. Secretary. This is how we open the front door around here.
All right, so they got some big shot politician people coming to watch.
Yep. This would be the Secretary of Defense.
Have an artificially created
this makes
wormhole
sense.
through our space-time to a point tens, even hundreds of light years away.
Because to be perfectly frank, this administration is not satisfied with the current progress of the Stargate program.
Oh, that's not good.
We'll get to it.
Begging the Secretary's pardon, sir, but we've already visited 19 separate worlds.
I believe he's referring specifically to the volume of technology being retrieved on our planetary missions.
What technologies do you seek?
Teal'c's like,
You tell me. What's
we got to
up?
pony up. Let's pony up.
There are still technologies even the Goa'uld seek. It possesses powers of invisibility.
If we managed to capture one alive, it could provide us with a serious tactical advantage the next time we came up against the Goa'uld.
They are very large, but extremely maneuverable in the air.
In the
Find
air?
them most vulnerable when they hover.
Hover. Like a hummingbird?
With teeth.
It's like what's the teddy bear with fangs?
Right, yeah. The
Well,
one
it's
that
not here.
Spock
had
had
that, right?
Here.
Yeah.
Where's the Stargate?
Dun
It's
dun
invisible.
dun.
There's one of the creatures in front of it, and so
Something
it's all
like that.
invisible.
Do we have a homing device?
Of course we do. It's with the gear. Which is... By the Stargate.
Yep.
Of course. There you go.
Box search. You and Teal'c take off in that direction. Stay in radio contact.
Jeff, I'm just
Daniel, you're with me.
you just missed the guest actor's name. You were looking down the entire time and it was right there. I was like, oh,
Babylon 5 taught me to not read these credits. Like, that's kind of a
but I don't know how you would have
reflex.
missed that one.
really.
I
Yeah.
just don't know how you would have missed it.
Okay, I saw a little.
Shat on the Stargate. Yeah.
Sounds a little like a big hummingbird.
It's
real flappy.
Big giant bug episode. Every sci-fi show has one, right, Jeff?
Yep. So just.
Teal'c,
whoosh.
what the hell are you doing?
It did not come from me.
Oh, that's not good. Is that Apophis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
You
so
are
happens that
serious,
he's there.
Fox.
Right.
Teal'c, this character used to be a god to you. You're sure you're okay with this?
That's great. Great question.
I am okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Carter?
If we're gonna do this, we better plan the attack very carefully.
I like that he got buy-in from everybody on the team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus watch Apophis here in this moment. He feels something weird and he stops and sends his guys out ahead of him. He says, you go take the danger spots.
Leading from behind. Oh, we're just going. Right here. Staff weapons aren't very wieldy. Hard to
I mean,
maneuver.
they're basically stormtrooper type things.
He's got that little. Look what I got. Oh,
Jack's dead.
direct hit, man down.
Yeah. Sam just
Is that Sam going down? He's taking
gone.
everybody out.
Jeff, I'm going to pause it here. I forgot that this happened in this episode. All right. You know how we're counting things throughout the series of things that just happen a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things we're counting every time Jack says for crying out loud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the next one we're counting. The number of times that Daniel Jackson dies. He dies a lot throughout the show.
It's actually a problem. Like, we've been talking to him about it.
He just needs to quit dying on the show. He dies. So we're going to chalk this up as the first instance of Daniel Jackson dying on this show. Okay.
Jaffa Sholva.
Sholva.
Playing the God card.
Tal Shaka Mel.
Doesn't sound like he's going to submit.
I die free.
Teal'c just disappeared.
Yeah.
So did everybody else.
Oh, the whole crew. Okay.
Everybody's disappeared. And Apophis with his cool little eyeliner thing.
Is that the little dude who's in everything?
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
They remind me of the trolls from Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like they got the growth and almost rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Very earthen.
The whole earth thing going on. Yeah.
That's is he gonna try and sell them to him? Like,
Did you hear
try and make a little profit? Armin Shimmerman right there.
You just got it.
I think.
Yeah, totally. That's my profit joke. Like,
Of what?
Dude, I was just sitting here kind of, I was like, 3, 2, 1, and you said your little profit
Yeah.
joke.
in a second, yeah. Like, it's very obviously, it's also Principal Snyder. Buffy reference.
Yes.
Hi. I will
fair.
take you to your doorway.
And there's unmistakable voice.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You understand what I'm saying?
It took time to learn
Oh,
your
okay.
speech.
As in Stargate?
Yes, you will go.
We're from a race of people that want to learn about your ways, your medicine.
No.
Is there anyone else we could talk to? Do you have a leader?
They have no wish to see you.
We brought you back to life. We gave you some fruit.
We'll go.
There
If
you
he
go.
wishes to leave, should we not depart now?
Your brother won't revive until later.
Yeah.
I mean, he's black, he's bald, he's got the gold thing in his head.
Right, there you
See
go.
the family resemblance?
Did our attempts to help him heal.
I mean, if we hadn't attacked Apophis, he wouldn't even be
It's
here.
cool that they're not just like nameless,
kill him
you know,
either.
just an army of whatever. There's real history there.
Apophis will not allow us to leave this world alive.
We can't leave Shackle here, and we'll never get him back to the gate without running into Apophis.
Okay, we'll try and find out as much as we can about the Nox. It's part of why we came here, right?
Sounds like
Tough
a plan.
spot. Right? It's a tough spot because like they should go, you know, they should. But if they do, they got a time bomb sitting in there.
waiting to pay the price of his betrayal.
But also, these
my
people,
hand.
Shackle,
Search.
they led Shackle to these people.
Where
Like,
are the others?
they feel responsible for their protection.
Where is
now,
Shackle?
'cause
Exactly.
Clearly, they're not going to protect
I saw them
themselves.
die. They could not just disappear unless they have learned the power of the beast.
Okay, so they know something of this.
Must he be bound so tightly?
What do you mean?
Like the gold knows something of like the reviving stuff.
He deceived
They're the powers of the
He's
beast.
awake now.
Well,
Unless he
no,
thinks
okay.
in the invisibility.
That's what he's talking. Yeah. Let's
Okay.
clarify that. Yeah. So what he's talking about is they couldn't just disappear unless they learned the powers of the beast. And Apophis wants to know how this beast disappears, right? Which is
Yeah, so it's
what
just the
SG1 was
invisibility.
doing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't
Turn
think
my back,
Apophis
Shackle.
knows the Nox.
The time of Apophis will soon. On that day, I will return to our world and offer freedom to all Jaffa. It is a shame you will not live to see it. For when you fail to kill me, it will be your head.
I got
don't get the
Teal'c
point of
didn't
this.
threaten him.
Well, if
He
we
pointed
run
out
into
the threat that
Apophis
Apophis
again, we'll
is.
be prepared
Uh-huh.
for what-
Why do you want to fight them?
I don't want to.
Then don't. I'll learn to understand them better.
No, I wouldn't do that if I were.
There's a fender. Okay. It is like a hummingbird with teeth. Okay, and they can do the invisibility thing.
You will not teach Nefreo your ways.
How'd you do that?
It is not the Fenrir that have the ability to hide. It is the Nox.
So you hid the Stargate?
You tried to kill the Fenrir just a moment ago.
Yeah, you
I was
just
trying
shot
to
it.
protect the boy.
You protect his body after poisoning his mind.
Will you listen to me?
How long have the Gould been coming here to hunt?
Oh,
As long as I can remember.
as long as I can remember.
I love it when
Why
that
did you not
happens.
bury
I know.
the Stargate? Do you know that that would stop them?
And they would know someone had buried it.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Comes with age. That kind
These
of
guys
wisdom.
really remind me of from the Wheel of Time. There's a group called the Tuatha On that practice the way of the leaf, where
No.
through understanding
humanoid,
and
but
things you can
definitely more
find
advanced
peace, and
than
if you don't,
anything
you
that has
die,
evolved on
and that's fine
That
because
creature
things will
we came
continue.
here for, it has no power at all. None. Zip. So we have to get Shackle out of here.
We will not allow them.
Will you
Stop doing that.
You cannot be trusted with your enemy.
I offer you this last chance to join me.
before you kill
Together
me.
we can rule the
You're
galaxy.
too much of a coward, or you've done it already.
I like what he's doing. What the Nox told him to do. Try to convince him.
Exactly.
Well, if it were you or me.
My wound will heal. We must find Shackle.
We will.
Ride the Fenry. Or send them out to find it, right? Doing the thing to bring her back.
Clearly how they killed the others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they breathing on the embers, Jeff?
Right? I'm trying to see like what's I just see his hands kind of out. I'm trying to figure out like what's going on. And not enough for Shackle. I got away, but now I'm gonna come back. He's gonna see it. He's gonna know.
That's what they were talking about. He just saw him disappear too. And come back.
Cat's out of the bag.
He's telling him of the Nox.
Where is Nefreyu?
I think they can sense him.
You would think. That's the feeling I'm getting. Yeah.
I told him to go home.
I told you the same.
Touche.
The very young do not always do what they are told.
Little not so subtle jab right there.
They're 432. Yeah, Jack's the very young. They're literally 10 times your age.
They killed the kid. JMS, write this thing.
Right?
Feel like a trap to you, Captain? Minute you start that ritual, they'll attack.
Give us our weapons. We can defend you.
There will be no killing.
We'll find our own way back to the Stargate. We're certainly not going to sit around here and watch a slaughter.
You know, they could be a little more, we got it, it's okay, like,
right?
They really could, like, give them more.
It would take too long.
Like, there is sort of a bit of a superior, we are superior to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're better and we can do all this, and we're literally not listening to you.
Exactly.
Whereas if they would take a moment and just listen to them and explain it.
But I think that's happening on both sides. Like,
fair.
Yeah, they're
That's
both
fair.
just like, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's straight out of
So you're saying
Dune.
that an arrow or dart being much slower in velocity than, say, a bullet.
Just might make it through.
You ready?
I would think maybe not an arrow.
Right? Those should move pretty quick.
Yeah. Like, I feel like an arrow could move through the air almost as fast as like an energy blast from a staff weapon.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the thing. Like in Fallout, bullets move faster than the energy weapons. They got so much force in them instead of behind them. I really like how
Teal'c's
they handle
gonna hit him with the tree.
Right. I'll just pick up the log.
I like he still has the hole in his chest.
Well, they can bring him back to life. They do not have a tailor or seamstress.
I told you, just gotta hit him with the tree.
Got wood.
Fool, I will kill you.
Again?
He called him a fool.
No! They'll be back!
When they killed the kid, he figured out how to do the disappearing act.
We sent your enemy through the doorway.
They'll be back.
When you are gone, we will bury.
Yeah, that's the
Come
right
in
thing
ships
to do.
next time.
Perhaps. He wanted to wish you farewell.
I'm glad you're okay.
It is our way that the strong defend the weak.
We're afraid for you. Before
You
go
assume we're
away.
weak.
There is something we would have you see.
Communication. A city in the clouds kind of thing. I'll go a different route and call it Bespin instead of where I was going because we used our references.
Fear not, we got a bunch of people up there. We're good.
Right?
Maybe one day you will learn that your way is not the only way.
It's kind of interesting that Nox didn't do something with the Stargate before. Like they had to have known what it was, you know?
Right. All right, Jeff, that was the Nox. You said it'd be an alien people that they're trying to go out and talk to and understand and technologies and all that. What'd you think of this episode?
This was a good episode.
Right?
It was a hard episode because it was just, I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed watching it, but we talked about this as we were watching it, but it's just, there were these two groups of people that had all of the answers between them, but refused to step out of their own worlds for a second and communicate in any way. And it got really frustrating at some point. You know, it's just, you need to go. Well, we need to stay here and protect you. No, you need to go. No, we need to stay here and protect you. Blah, 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 blah. And it just kept going and going. And then And then because they couldn't communicate, Brent, they killed a kid.
Right?
They killed a kid. Wow. That's gutsy, right?
Yeah.
8th episode in to kill a kid. I can only think of one other series that would do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Except he came back in this one.
Exactly. Yeah.
He didn't end the episode dead, and it wasn't from some it was for superiority complex, but
it was
different way.
Yeah.
In a different
Whole
way.
different thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed some of Jack's leadership in this episode. There was a moment, and we talked about it again during the viewing itself, but the mission parameters change, right? So they get there, Stargate disappears, all their gear disappears, and they see Apophis. And so they have like this, what are we going to do? And everybody's like, we go after Apophis. But Jack's like, Daniel, what do you think here? Sam, what are you thinking here? And then the question I loved so much, Teal'c, this dude was a god to you. Are you going to be good? You know, going 1-to-1. And what was just so beautiful. They set up their attack and they go in, they ambush him and they just get rocked. I mean, seconds and they're getting blasted. They are so out of their league fighting these Jaffa. And Teal'c's left standing and Apophis tries, right? You know, come back to us. And oh man, Teal'c, he just looks at him and he's just like, I'm going to die free, ready to go. And he stood to it. And like, I've really liked Teal'c up to this point, but here it's just like this, like he's my favorite guy. He's my favorite character at this point right now. Yeah. Teal'c is awesome. I liked that they found, I liked that it was aliens, right? I had an impression early in the series that it was just going to be humans, the diaspora of humans out throughout, you know, the galaxy sort of thing. And everybody was going to speak English, and the alienness we'd have would be the cultures that formed, you know, amongst the people that were there. But no, we got aliens last week. We got aliens this week. Still a really cool, like, way to work around getting them to speak English. You know, it's, we learned it. Okay, cool. Whatever. Hand wave. That works. I really felt like the Nox in this episode, they reminded me of a group in the Wheel of Time book series called the Tuatha'an, or the Tinkers. And they follow the way of the leaf. The way of the leaf is you just go the way the wind blows you, you know? You don't fight back, you just go with it. And they die and get slaughtered a lot, but they are one of the like longest continuous groups of people in this series of books, because they keep going. And I feel like that's a lot of what the Nox were. And they have like this philosophy, you know, of like, we don't kill, we don't harm others. And Teal'c, and
not Amadeus,
right?
Teal'c.
But he said, talking about the little kid that ended up dying, Jack was showing him the bow and arrow and the stuff, and Teal'c asks, you know, what were you doing? He's like, well, I was trying to, you know, protect him. He's like, you were trying to protect his body after poisoning his mind.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. Armin Shimmerman, right? I mean, holy crud. There's our guy in this, and he was awesome. Armin, he's good in everything he does.
Yeah.
And this was fun. It was a different role for him, a lot more, you know, reserved and kind of quiet, but he had that confidence of someone who's 432 years old, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed him in this. There was a real good guys versus bad guys thing. What's good? What's bad? I like the way the Nox were like, you know, Jack's like, they're the bad guys. They're bad. And then the girl was like, yeah, but you attacked them. It's like, what is good? What is bad? What else was in there? I talked about it in there. I liked the shield. Apophis has this energy shield thing, and now apparently can disappear. The energy shield, inspired very much by Dune. The slow blade will penetrate the shield. You know, it's kind of a velocity thing. But he was able to disappear at the end. He was able to use that technology. Is that now technology the Goa'uld have?
So Jeff, you know how there's this thing where when you've seen a show so many times, the obvious is really obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you become a little incredulous that other people don't pick up on it because it's just so, well, obvious. But then if you actually are watching it with somebody for the first time, they may not actually understand it in that same way. But they go back and watch it again and they'll be like, oh yeah, how could I have not understood that? This is one of those examples.
Okay.
Apophis did not pick up the technology of how to disappear. When he disappeared, it was because Antaeus and the other people had finished the deal with Nefreu, and they disappeared Apophis.
When
they protected Apophis, and he goes, "No, what are you doing? They're going to come back and kill you." Because Jack understood in that moment that it was the Nox who like Apophis got noxed. You know, so yeah, so the Goa'uld do not have that technology. They don't know how that works.
Okay, that makes so much. I mean, it does. It makes a lot of sense because I mean, Goa'uld get that technology, it's game over. You can't fight that. You know, so
yeah.
But no, I thought I really enjoyed this episode, and I think I'm looking forward to this next piece right here because I think there was some pretty cool stuff in this episode from a sci-fi messages standpoint. But real quick before we dive into that, we did not get any For Crying Out Louds.
We did not.
But we did get a new thing we're tracking. Daniel Jackson has now died for the first time.
Yes.
So that's a new thing.
Daniel likes to die. The way we're going to count this is when you are led to believe that Daniel Jackson is dead on screen, not some off-screen thing. Like when you see him die on screen. Michael Shanks has a lot of death scenes. Let's just put it that way.
They're like, you're good at this. Let's do this a bunch.
Yeah. There's actually, I'm thinking off the top of my head, there are a few other Michael Shanks non-Daniel Jackson death scenes in the show as well, which is just, maybe we should just change it to Michael Shanks death scenes.
Yeah,
that might actually, that's what we're going to do. This is no longer just Daniel Jackson. This is Michael Shanks death scenes.
Awesome.
So, because as sci-fi goes, you know, sometimes characters do other stuff.
Yeah,
they get taken over, whatever, you know.
All kinds of things. Anything can happen. It's one of the cool things about sci-fi. Another cool thing about sci-fi is the way it can package messages for the viewer. Brent, what did you get out of this one?
That is a professional transition there, Jeff.
Thanks.
That's a segue that you couldn't write any better. JMS couldn't write that one better. Hey, Jeff, listen, I've had a complaint for the last couple of weeks about some of these Stargate things.
Really? Okay.
It's that, and not every week, but it's been more than once now. Specifically, I'm thinking of Emancipation and the First Commandment, where they'll present a problem, but never discuss it and just leave it there. That's not what happened here. This episode could be a Star Trek episode.
100%.
You know, like you could pluck this out, put Captain Kirk as the landing party, or Riker, or I mean any of those guys, and Captain Pike. But I mean that's probably more Captain Pike type of situation. Anyway, but they put it in. They showed you both sides because you certainly could understand the dilemma that SG1 felt.
Yeah.
We've brought them here because you guys have done this thing for us. And Shackle's now here. They're going to go back and tell Apophis. Apophis is going to come and just obliterate. He's not even going to just go away. He's going to come obliterate everything if he can't figure out who you are. This is our fault. And Daniel Jackson says it at some point, because we've done this, we now feel obliged to help you. But then you hear the Nox go, we don't need your help. We don't need your help. Jeff, let me ask you a question as a first-time viewer, because in my head, I always know, they got that city and they can do the invisibility thing and they've got other ways of doing stuff. It's fine. At what point did you ever really understand that the Nox can actually take care of themselves even against the Goa'uld?
Immediately, I had the impression that they were going to be okay, but I didn't really understand how.
Okay.
I don't think that when he says you have to go, it wasn't that naive, ignorant, the native tribe that's, been hidden forever saying, oh, just leave. We're fine. He clearly had that confidence of, we're good.
Yeah.
Just go. And then the second you found out that they were the ones with the invisibility technology, they're good. I mean, worst case, they just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
They lose their little village. Like that's
Right.
their worst case scenario.
And even if they disappear, because apparently they're phasing out because you can shoot through wherever it's not like you just disappear, but you're still solid and we can do stuff to you. Like you just go to a different plane of existence or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not Kevin Bacon Hollow Man kind of a thing.
Yeah,
It's whole different thing.
Yeah. And very clearly the Nox are a much older race. They have technology that is well beyond that of Earth, well beyond that of the Gould, and it has made them effectively pacifists.
Mm-hmm.
But they can still defend themselves. So a couple of lines, probably the biggest one is the very young do not always do as they're told. And even Jack says at the very end, that's something worth taking home.
Yep.
In case you didn't know what the message was going to be, let me slap you over the head with it. The very young do not always do as they're told. Fighting is not the only way to deal with enemies. Talk about holding up a mirror to society. Just this, well, you poor people, we've got to come and rescue you and take care of you. You don't really know the danger that is out there. Now, here's the thing. It's possible they were right, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, by all accounts, Jack and the team were like, no, these guys are going to obliterate you. They're going to bring fire and you guys will burn because you don't have water.
Right.
And what really stood out to me, and I never really thought about this before, was it was at the end, kind of in the climax piece, and Teal'c finally went, what are you so afraid of?
Yes.
And Teal'c asked a question. And he's like, what's going on with you? He's like, we're going to be okay because of XYZ. And Teal'c started communicating, not just demanding.
Mm-hmm.
As let's just call it, as he is the superior race, it's kind of on him to not be this haughty, snooty, everything that we thought Jack and the team were being towards them, they were actually being towards Jack and the team.
Yeah.
And when they stopped doing that, they suddenly could communicate and all of a sudden we're friends. However, the downside of that, and Jackson figured this out, they're going to bury the Stargate now. You know, and they're not worried about Apophis coming back and shooting them down from space. Like, they'll be fine. But what this also means is, hey, if we would have listened, we could have left, but we also could have come back and developed a relationship and been friends.
Exactly.
But they're going to bury the Stargate and we can't do that now. We've lost out on the opportunity because we didn't listen. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The very young do not always do as they're told. So Nefreyo's talking to, I think it was Jack, and he's like, why do you want to fight him? And Jack goes, I don't want to fight him. And Nefreyo goes, don't.
Yeah.
And Jack's like, well, I have to. And he's like, no, you don't. Spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't watched Babylon 5. That's the conclusion that Sheridan came to with the Shadows and the Vorlons.
It's how they won, right?
They won by not fighting. We're going to win by pulling back. I'm not even going to fight you. Yeah. You can't fight me because I'm not fighting back. It's not a fight because I'm not engaging in this anymore. Go away. Yeah. And they won. Like,
yeah.
It's like, you don't actually have to fight. There are ways around this. Now, you and I also both know that there are times for fisticuffs, at least as far as or maybe I'm just not that enlightened yet, Jeff.
Well, it really strikes me, my daughter and I, she more than me, I do it part-time, but we train in Aikido. Yeah. Aikido it's similar to judo in that it uses your opponent's momentum, but it's not to hurt them. It's basically to neutralize them. You put them on the ground, and then there's a concept we follow called ma'ai, and ma'ai is space. So you come and swing at me. I learn an art to use your arm and take you down to the ground, and then I back away. Hey, no, that's not going to happen. I got you. You're not going to hit me. I protect myself. But I put you on the ground. I don't try and hurt you. I take care of you, and I create my eye. And if you come back at me, I do it again.
Yeah.
Right. And then eventually, I just create more and more my eye until I take off. But even in that, like we talk about. That need, you get to a point where you're like, all right, I'm gonna have to strike, and so they
because
learn,
you won't stop. Like,
it's not, there's no escape, there's nowhere for you to run to, and this person's not stopping. But that's like last resort.
Yeah. It actually reminds me of something that happened with my son 2 summers ago. I think he was in summer camp at one of the kind of like YMCA type situation. I get a phone call. He'd been in a fight. All right. Now you got to understand, my son at 9 years old is a 2nd degree black belt. Here in like another year or so, he's going to get his 3rd degree. Like the kid can handle himself.
Right. And he's not
huge.
I say it's not a small average niner whatever he is.
The kid is huge. The kid can handle himself. Yeah. And basically what happened was this kid started attacking him, and he took the kid and basically kind of what you're talking, he put him down on the ground. I mean, the kid freaked out and started crying. But he just put him down on the ground. He didn't hurt him, didn't punch, didn't kick him, but he neutralized him, used his techniques, and just sort of was like, no, you're not doing this right now. Like my kid could have ripped this dude a new one. Yeah. But he didn't. He showed restraint. And I looked at the camp director. I was like, what do you want from him? I'm not getting him in trouble, and he shouldn't be in trouble here.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but it just, we have to kind of for everybody involved. I'm like, I understand that, but I'm not accepting any marks against him. Like if anything, he showed restraint and protection of his personal self, which is his individual human right.
Yeah. To
protect his own body. Like, he wasn't even jumping in to save somebody else. He's just protecting himself. Like, anyway, it does remind me of this though, talking about just deciding not to fight. Perhaps 2 of the greatest movements in history that affected the most change ever were non-violent movements. I'm thinking specifically of the movement with Gandhi in India and the movement with Dr. Martin Luther King right here in our own home country.
There you go.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Non-violent movements, and it won. It won. And then there's this the discussion on this was great. Jack goes, hey, aren't you afraid of these people? And he goes, we're not afraid. Well, get afraid. Because fear makes you do some stupid stuff sometimes.
Sure does.
Ultimately, what is the message? Your way is not the only way.
Yeah.
And you need to respect that. Jeff, this is as high as you can get. This is a 5 chevron episode all the way through.
One of the things that I practice is I actively invite dissenting opinions.
Yeah.
Right. So when people see something, whether it's a social issue, an economic issue, political, whatever, hey, you don't feel the way I do about it. Hey, I don't want to argue with you. I want to understand. Right. I want to hear that and understand because I have my way, but actually maybe it's not. And if we could just do that, seek to understand instead of fight to be right, sure be a whole lot cooler to live here.
Right. Well, speaking of whole lot cooler, hey, Jeff, I give this 5 chevrons.
Mm-hmm.
You, my friend, have the responsibility of slotting this one into our ranking of the episodes. Now, our current ranking stands at this. We have Cold Lazarus at number 1. We have The Broken Divide at number 2, Children of the Gods, Enemy Within, First Commandment, and Emancipation. Jeff, where are you going to place this episode, The Nox?
The question I'm asking myself is, did I enjoy this episode and its message enough to move past the lasting impact of another episode that I am still reeling from after we watched it? And the answer is yes. This is our new number 1. This is an awesome episode. Had Armin Shimmerman. It was fun. It was deep. It was challenging. It was really well put together. And it had I didn't talk about it all, but it just had these really subtle little kind of jokes, throughout it. It kind of kept thinking it was just really well light. Done.
Exactly. There was some lightness to it. It wasn't super like Cold Lazarus had no jokes whatsoever.
Yeah, no.
It was a heavy episode. This episode had some, and it does it in a way that honestly Stargate does so well.
Yeah.
Not a lot of other sci-fi does humor the way Stargate does.
Yeah, most of them should
never. Yeah, just stop trying to do humor.
Yeah.
All right, go. Jeff. Well, that's going to do it for the Nox. Next time, the episode we are watching, the title is Brief Candle. Do you care to venture a guess as to what that episode could be about?
So candle sometimes is a measurement of something. I'm thinking of air or something like that. So often, it's definitely time. It's a measure of time often. But what I'm imagining is they're going to go to planet P4763 Alpha Bravo, whatever, name that rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
They're going to be exploring, and somebody, I'm going to guess Daniel, is going to get trapped in a cave or fall into a pit or something, and the air supply is going to be an issue where we have to get to him. He's going to run out of air. He has a brief candle in which we can save him.
You're a good guesser, Jeff.
You're very kind. I appreciate that.
Well, we will see next time here on Stargate SG1 for the first time. Hey, everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us. And please remember to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a rating and review. Apple Podcasts is the primary place, but if they do it, Audible, you can do it on Audible if you're listening to us there. Where else leaves? Podchaser lets you leave reviews.
Good Pods.
Good Pods lets you leave reviews. So if you could leave us a rating and review, we would love to be able to hear that. And please be sure to share this podcast with someone out there who loves Stargate SG1, or maybe somebody who needs to fall in love with the show for the very first time. So until next time, we're going to get out of here.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
Will you stop doing that?
Oh, for crying out loud. I don't even know what you're talking about.
That was when Quark showed up out of nowhere, and Daniel's like, "Will you stop doing that?" I thought that was hilarious. So.
Okay, there you go. Oh yeah. He showed up.
Whoa.
Yeah. Got it. I'm with you. All right. Let's just get out of here, Jeff.
Yeah. You got a test coming up, my friend. So you got to get some work done.
I do. Oh, I should do this.
You should.
I got to hit the button.
You hit the stop button.
Not
is
you.
What you
It's
do.
me.